Volleyball is a sport played by two teams on a playing court divided by a net. The object of the game is to send the ball over the net in order to ground it on the opponent's court and to prevent the same effort by the opponent. The team has 3 hits for returning the ball. The rally continues until the ball is grounded on the playing court, goes out, or a team fails to return it properly. In volleyball, the team winning a rally point system. There are 6 players on the court in a volleyball team. Matches are played in 5 sets. The 4 sets are played to 25 points, with the final set being played to 15 points. A team must win a set by at least 2 points. There is no ceiling, so a set continues until one of the teams gains a 2-point advantage. One has to understand this game. In a match, there are 5 sets. Each set comprises of a score where a team wins by a 2-point advantage. Fine. In the first 5 sets, the winning team must have scored at least 25 points. So if a team is having a 2-point advantage, the score is not 25 points, the team cannot win. The team has to have at least 25 points, and the other team should have 23 or less than 23 points. If the other team has 24 points or let's say 25 points, then the game will continue till the moment one of the teams gains a 2-point advantage. Same goes in the set 5. The only difference is that in the set 5, the minimum points required to win the set is 15 points. The team which wins the more number of sets is the winner. Fine. Some information is given regarding a match between Brazil and Russia. The information says that there were only 3 sets which finished with minimum threshold points. That means there are 2 possibilities. Either out of the 4 sets of 25 points, that is the first 4 sets, 3 sets finished with 25 points, that is the winning team got 25 points, or 2 sets got finished with 25 points and 1 set got finished with 15 points. Fine. Next, the final score of Russia was same in 2 of the sets in which it won one of the sets. That means out of the 5 sets, Russia had a same score in 2 sets in which it won one of the sets and it lost the other set. Third point. In one of the sets, the final score of Brazil was less than half of Russia. That means if it is the case of one of the first 4 sets, fine. That means the score of Brazil would be less than 12.5, because in that case the score of Russia would be either at least 25. So if the score of Russia is 25, then the score of Brazil would be less than 12.5, or depending upon the score of Russia. Or if it is the last set case, that is 15, in that case the score of Brazil would be less than 7.5, or depending upon the score of Russia. Next, the score of Brazil in one of the sets is same as the score of Russia in one of the other sets. Both of them lost their respective sets with a different margin. A very important point. Brazil and Russia had the same score in 2 different sets. First thing, that means if Brazil scored X points in one set, Russia also scored X points in some other set out of the given 5 sets, and both of them lost their respective sets. That means Brazil lost the set with X points, that means Russia must have scored X plus 2 in that set, and again, or some other score which is more than X plus 2. And same goes for Russia in some other set where Russia scored X points and Brazil scored X plus 2 or more points. Fine. And again, both of them lost their sets with a different margin. That means both the sets were not won by a 2-point advantage. Either one of the sets was won by a 2-point advantage, the other by more than 2 points, or both were won by more than 2-point advantage and with different points. Fine. The next point is that total score of 5 sets of Brazil and Russia were 108 and 116 respectively. Very simple. The sum of all the points of all the 5 sets is 108 and 116 respectively. Also, Brazil won 3 sets. That means Russia won 2 sets. The maximum score by any team in the 5 sets was 30 and the minimum was 12. Russia scored 23 points in one of the sets. There were only 3 sets in which a team won by exactly 2-point advantage. That means the remaining 2 sets were won by more than 2-point advantage. Now we'll try to figure out what were the scores of those 5 sets. Fine. Let me write it down. Brazil here and Russia here. It is mentioned that the minimum score of any team was 12. In one of the sets, the final score of Brazil was less than half of Russia. I know that if the set is a case of 15 points, then the score would be less than half. That means it should be less than 7.5, which is not possible. The minimum score is 12 itself. So it must be a case of score of 25 only. So Brazil must have scored 12 points and Russia must have scored 25 points, because Russia cannot go above 25 because it is already having a 2-point advantage. So this is the score of one of the sets of in the first 4 sets of Brazil and Russia. Next, it is also said that the highest score was 30 points. Now, there are two possibilities. Either Brazil might have scored that 30 points, or Russia might have scored that 30 points, or both might have scored that 30 points. We will see each case one by one. Let's see, first Russia scored that 30 points and won the set. Because since this is the highest score, so Brazil must have scored 28 points. This set must have gone to up to a 30 score only because Russia must have not got a 2-point advantage in between. Fine. So this set is won by Russia. This set is won by Russia. Now Russia has already won 2 of its sets. That means the remaining 3 sets must be won by Brazil only. I know that in one of the sets Russia has scored 23 points. So if Russia scored 23 points, Brazil must have scored 25 points. Fine. Now let's total these points. I know that the total of Brazil is 108 and the total of Russia is 116. And the total of these 3 points of Brazil is 12 plus 28 is 40, 40 plus 25 is 65. So the sum of the remaining 2 scores of Brazil must be 43, and here 25 plus 30 is 55, 55 plus 23 is 78. That means the sum of these 2 scores must be 38. Now I have to divide the 2 scores of Russia such that the sum is 38 and the Brazil such that the sum is 43. Now, if I look at the point 2, we know that the final score of Russia was same in 2 of the sets in which it won one of the sets. Now, what can be the possibility? Russia won the 2 sets, one is with a score of 25, one with a score of 30. That means Russia must have lost a match with one of these scores. I know that Russia cannot lose a score with a score of 30 for a simple reason. In that case, Brazil must have scored more than 30, that is 32, and I know that 30 is the highest score. That means one thing for sure is that Russia must have lost a score by 25. So one of the scores of Russia must be 25. In that case, the score of Brazil must be 27, and the other score of Russia must be 13. So 25 plus 13 is 38, and the other score of Brazil must be 16. 27 plus 16 is 43. I see that this set goes fine. Brazil won the set. This set goes fine. Brazil won the set with 2 points. But in this set Brazil got a score of 16, which is not possible. A team cannot have a 3-point advantage in a scenario when it already had a 2-point advantage and it got the threshold point. So 16 is not possible. The only possibility here is that either Russia must have got 14 points, then only Brazil can get 16 points, or the other possibility is that Brazil must have got 15 points and it must have won the set. So this case is not possible. So the assumption that we had initially is that Russia scored 30 points. So this assumption is wrong. That means Russia did not score 30 points. So let's see next case. Brazil, Russia, 12 and 25 is a very sure shot score. So Brazil scored 30 points and Russia scored 28 points. This is the only possible. This set was won by Russia. This set was won by Brazil. Now Russia scored 23 points. Fine. Now, there are 2 possibilities. With these 23 points, either Russia could have won the set. If Russia is winning a set with 23 points, it means it is very clear it is the last set. It is a 15-point set. Then only a team can win with a score of 23. The other possibility is Russia has lost its set. So we will consider both the possibilities. First, let's consider it is a 15-point set. Russia won this set. Fine. So if Russia won this set, that means the score of Brazil must have been 21. It cannot be anything else, because if it is less than 21, that means Russia must have won way back. It cannot be more than 21 because Russia need to have at least 2-point advantage. So I will mark it as 5th set. Fine. So it is 23, it is 21. Now, I will see the two score possibilities of Russia and Brazil. The total score of Russia here is 25 plus 28 is 53, 53 plus 23 is 76. 76, that means the remaining two scores of Russia must be 40. Similarly, Brazil scored 30 plus 12, 42, 42 plus 21 is 63. That means the remaining two scores of Brazil must be 45. And both the sets must have been won by Brazil because Russia has already won two sets, which are marked as ticked here. Fine. Now, what is the possibility for Russia of these the two scores of Russia? Let's see. I know that Russia had the same score in two sets and it lost one of the sets and it won one of the sets. So the score possible is the score with which is lost the set is either it could be 25 or 23. So if I take one of the scores as 25, the other will become 15, or I'll take the other as 23. If I take first as 23, the other will become 17 because the sum should be 70. One of the scores must be at least 25 or 23, and that's Russia must have lost that set to satisfy our condition 2. Fine. Now, if I go with the case 1 where the score of Russia is 25 and Russia lost this set, that means Brazil must have scored 27 in this set. If Brazil has scored 27 in this test, to make the sum of Brazil as 45, Brazil must have scored 18 in this set. 15-18 is not a possible score, so this case is ruled out. Russia has scored 23 in this set, then Brazil must have scored 25 in this set to win this set. If Brazil scored 25 in this set, that means the other score of Brazil must be 20 to make the sum as 45. This is again not possible because here it is again 3-point advantage. So with a score of 23, Russia did not win this set. Fine. And if Russia did not win this set, it is not the fifth set. Let's consider the next possibility. 12 and 25 is a sure score. 30 and 28 is again a sure score. We have figured it out, these two sets. Now Russia scored 23 and Russia lost this set. That means Brazil must have scored 25 points. So this set was won by Brazil. Now out of the remaining two sets, one set is won by Russia, the other is by Brazil. Also, let's see the total of Russia. The total of Russia is 25 plus 28, 53 plus 23, 76. That means the sum of the remaining two sets must be 40. And for Brazil, it is 30 plus 12, 42 plus 25, 67. So that means the sum of the remaining two sets is 41. Now, I know that one of the scores of Russia will get repeated, and it will repeat in such a way that it has won that set, it has won one of the sets and it has lost the other set. Now let's consider the first possibility. Russia has won with a score of 25. That means Russia must have lost a score with a score of 25. So if I assume one score to be 25, the other will become 15. Russia lost this set, that means this score should be 27. Since the total of Brazil is 41, so the other score should be 14. 14 and 15 is not a possible case. This is not possible. Fine. So the same score that Russia had where it won one of the sets and it lost one of the sets is not 25. Now second possibility, Russia lost a set with a score of 28. So the other possibility is Russia won a set with a score of 28. So let's say Russia won a set with a score of 28. That means the score of Brazil in that case will be 26. To make the total of Russia as 116, the other score of Russia must be 12, and similarly the other score of Brazil must be 15. We see that this case is satisfied, this case is satisfied, and if I check each and every condition, I will see that these 5 scores are satisfied and they are in accordance with my every condition. For the sake of verification, I will consider the last case also. Russia lost a set with a score of 23. That means the other possibility is Russia won a score with a score of 23. I've already checked it earlier. Russia cannot win a set with a score of 23. So I can be now sure that my final score would be 12, 25, 30 and 28, 25 and 23, 26 and 28, 15 and 12. All my conditions are satisfied. This was won by Russia, this by Brazil, this by Brazil, this by Russia and this by Brazil. Now I can easily go ahead and answer my questions. What was the maximum difference by which a team won the set? It is 13 points. I know that. 12 and 25. What was the score of Russia in the fifth set? The score of Russia, the fifth set is the set in which 15 is the threshold point. So Russia scored 12 in that set. So answer is again C. Sorry, it's not C. 12 points is the score of Russia. So it's 12 points. How many sets? In how many sets the score of Brazil was an even number? The score of Brazil was even number. One is 12, the other is 30, the other is 26. In the remaining two sets, it has got 25 and 15 as its score. So there were in all three sets where it got an even number as its final score. What was the score which was common with both the teams and in which both won their respective sets? I can see that I can see that Russia won two sets, one with a score of 25, the other with a score of 28. With a score of 28, I see that Brazil did not win any set. With a score of 25, yes, Brazil won a set. So 25 was the required score. The answer is option C.